Hello viewers, I, Professor Er.Durgesh, working as an assistant professor at Civil Engineering Department, Sanjani College of Engineering, Kopargaon, welcome you to this session on planning of residential buildings. First, we shall discuss regarding the residential building. Residential buildings are the buildings which include with the sleeping accommodations which is provided for normal residential purposes with or without cooking or dining or both the facilities. It also includes one or two or multi-family dwellings, lodgings or rooming houses, residential hotels, hostels, dormitories, dharmashalas, apartment houses, flats and apartments. Now we shall discuss regarding the types of residential buildings. Residential buildings includes detached houses commonly known as bungalows, semi-detached houses also known as twin bungalows, row houses, ownership flats, apartments, etc. Now the requirements of residential building as per the MRTP Act, that is the Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act. The minimum size of plot as per type of residential building for the middle income group is, for a row house, the minimum area requirement of a plot is 30 meters square and above, but up to 125 meters square. For a semi-detached house, it is above 125 meters square but less than 250 meters square. Detached house 250 meters square and above. For a minimum size of plot as per the type of residential building for the economically weaker section, the area requirement for a row house is 25 meters square and above but restricted up to 125 meters square. Area requirements of rooms. Now as we know, the residential building it comprises of various functional units or rooms. First is the habitable room. The habitable room includes the living room, the bedroom, the guest room, etc. The habitable room should have a carpet area of minimum 9 meters square, except those in hostels attached to a recognized educational institutions. The minimum size of a habitable room for a residence of a single person shall be 7.5 meters square, with the minimum width of a habitable room shall be 2.4 meters. Here it should be noted the minimum size it should be 2.4 meters. One full side of a habitable room shall abut to the open space. Where there is more than one room, one shall not be less than 9 meters square and another of 6.5 meters square. It comprises two, the planning for a master bed and that of a children bed. Here the master bed can have a minimum area of 9 meters square, whereas the children bed it can be restricted to 6.5 meters square. The height of all the rooms of human habitation shall not be less than 2.75 meters, measured from the surface of the floor to the lowest point of the ceiling, at the bottom of the slab. The minimum clear headroom under the beam it should be 2.4 meters. For the kitchen, the area of the kitchen it should not be less than 3.3 meters square with the minimum width of 1.5 meters. In special cases like housing schemes, no provision of kitchen will be necessary. Here, a closed or a cooking space having different access from the main room without any intercommunicating door are provided. The size shall not be less than 2.4 meters square with minimum width of 1.2 meters. It basically refers to having a kitchen adjacent to a living room wherein no partition wall is provided. The room height of a kitchen measured from the surface of the floor to the lowest point in the ceiling, that is the bottom of the slab, should not be less than 2.75 meters. The other requirements for a kitchen includes the means of washing of kitchen utensils. It should be directly lead to the sink and a trapped connection of the waste pipe should be provided. The flooring, it should be impermeable. Windows of not less than 1 meter square area opening directly on to an interior or exterior open space, but not into a ventilation shaft. Here it should be clearly noted that the window adjacent to the gas stove should not open to a ventilating shaft. In case of a multi-story residential building more than 15 meters in height, provision of a refuse chimney shall be necessary. Next, requirements for bathroom, water closet, combined bathroom plus water closet. First, the size. The minimum size shall be under, first case, if it is an independent bathroom, then the size will be 1 meter by 1.2 meters minimum. Independent water closet, minimum size of the water closet 0.9 meters by 1.2 meters. Third case, if it is a combined bathroom and a water closet, the area will be 1.8 meters square minimum with the minimum width of 1 meters. Height. The height of the bathroom or water closet measured from the surface of the floor to the lowest point in the ceiling, that is the bottom of the slab, shall not be less than 2.1 meters. The other requirements. The bathroom or the water closet should be so situated that at least one of its walls should open to the external air with the size of the opening, that is a ventilator or a window, or lower with minimum area of 3 meters square and a side measuring not less than 0.3 meters. It should have a platform or a seat made up of watertight non-adsorbent material. It should be enclosed by walls or partitions, and the surface of every such wall or partition shall be finished with a smooth impervious material to a height of not less than 1 meter above the floor of such a room. That is the dado tiles. They should be provided. And they should be provided with an impervious floor covering sloping towards the drain with a suitable grade and not towards the veranda or any other room. Next, we shall discuss regarding lofts. The maximum depth of the loft shall be 1.5 meter, and the loft may be provided over residential kitchens, habitable rooms, bathrooms, corridors, and over shop floor built up to an area 25% over kitchen and full space of bathrooms, water closets, and corridors. In the shops, loft over an area up to 33% of the carpet may be provided. However, it should be noted that loft will not be allowed where mezzanine floors are being provided. The clear headroom under the loft shall not be less than 2.1 meters, and loft in commercial areas and industrial buildings shall be located 2 meters away from the entrance. Next, we shall discuss regarding lighting and ventilation of rooms. As we know, lighting and ventilation of a room is essential part as well as having the comfort and living leisure into a residential building. Here, the minimum area requirement of an opening of an habitable room and kitchen, excluding doors, shall be not less than 1/10 of the floor area. In case of cocoon area where the temperature is hot and humid, it shall not be less than 1/6 of the floor area. No portion of the room shall be assumed to be lightened if it is more than 7.5 meters from the opening assumed for lighting and ventilation of the portion, provided additional depth of the living room beyond 7.5 meters may be permitted, subjected to the provision of proportionate increase in the opening. Where the lighting and ventilation requirements are not met throughout the day, day lighting and natural ventilation, the same shall be ensured through artificial lighting and mechanical ventilation. Next, parapet wall. Parapet wall and handrails provided on the edges of the roof, terraces, balcony, etc. shall not be less than 1.05 meters and not more than 1.2 meters in height. Next is the exit requirements. Exit requirements, they basically refer to the passages, corridors, staircases, etc. That means the vertical as well as the horizontal means of movement. Every building meant for human occupancy shall be provided with exits sufficient to permit safe escape of occupants in case of fire and other emergency. The building exit shall comply with the minimum requirement of this part except those not accessible for general public use. All exits shall be free of obstruction. It should be clearly visible and routes of the reach of the exit shall be clearly marked and signposted to guide the occupants to the floor concentrated. All the exit ways shall be properly illuminated. The firefighting equipment which are being provided, they should be suitably located and clearly marked and should not be obstructed in the exit way. There should be a clear indication about the location from either side of the exit way. The alarm devices shall be provided in the buildings with the height of more than 15 meters to ensure prompt evacuation of the occupants concerned through these exits. All exits shall provide continuous means of egress to the exterior of the building or to an exterior open space leading to a street, and shall be arranged in such a way that they shall be reached without passing through other occupied unit. Types of exits, as discussed earlier, it should include either the horizontal or vertical type, and it may be the doorway, corridor, passageways to an internal staircase or an external staircase, ramps or to a veranda or to a terraces which have access to the street or to the roof of a building. An exit may also include horizontal exit leading to an adjoining building at the same level. Lifts and escalators shall not be considered as exits. Now, the following minimum width provision shall be made for the stairways. The residential buildings should have a minimum width of 1.2 meters. Individual house or a row house with G plus 2 stories, the minimum width of the stairway will be 0.75 meters. If it is a residential hotel building, then the minimum width of the stairway will be 1.5 meters. The minimum width of the trade without the nosing shall be 25 centimeters for the internal staircase of a residential building. In case of other buildings, the minimum trade shall be 30 centimeters. The trade shall be constructed and maintained in a manner to prevent slipping. The maximum height of the riser shall be 20 centimeters in case of a residential building and 50 centimeters in case of other buildings. They shall be limited to 12 number of steps per flight, and for the lower income group scheme in a narrow plot, the riser may be provided in one flight. Handrails should be provided with a minimum height of 90 centimeters from the top of the trade. The minimum unobstructed headroom in a passage under the landing of a staircase and under the staircase shall be 2.2 meters. No living space, store or other fire space shall open directly into the external staircase or staircases. External exit door or staircase enclosure at ground level shall open directly to the open spaces or can be reached without passing through a large lobby. Next, lifts. All the floors shall be accessible for 24 hours by the lifts. The lift provided in the building shall not be considered as a means of escape in case of emergency, as discussed earlier. Grounding switch at the ground floor level to enable the fire service to ground the lift cars in an emergency shall also be provided. The lift machine shall be separate and no other machinery shall be installed in the machine room. Now, as we have discussed regarding the functional requirements of the residential buildings, we shall now discuss what actually are the types of residential buildings. As previously we have seen the different types of residential buildings, now we shall discuss first with the row house. A row house can be defined as a series of houses connected by common side walls and forming a continuous group. A row house is considered a cross between an apartment and a bungalow, thus giving you the sense of independence and benefits of community living. As you can see in the picture, here we can see a typical elevation of a row house, wherein one can have his own living leisure, comfort, privacy while being into his row house. That is an arrangement made, but along with the same, as it is having a common wall with an attached residential enclosed space, he can also have the benefits of community living. Next is a detached house or a bungalow. A bungalow is a small house or cottage that is either single story or has a second story built into a flat or a sloping roof and may be surrounded by a wide veranda. It gives the comfort of detached housing. Here, it should be clearly noted that detached housing or bungalows, they provide us with utmost privacy. One can live into a detached house or a bungalow with utmost privacy and have his living leisure and comfort as compared to the row house or an apartment or an ownership flat scheme. Next is a semi-detached house or a twin bungalow. The semi-detached house or a twin bungalow is a building containing of two identical self-contained units of apartments either on a vertical or a horizontal plane. While, as discussed earlier, a bungalow is a self-contained building with any number of rooms but has a kitchen and bathroom with a single floor building under one roof. Here, it can be noted that the twin bungalow can be a mirror image built adjacent to the bungalow, just like having two bungalows attached by a common wall. Next is ownership flats. The meaning of an ownership flat is a part of a property for any independent use, including one or more rooms on one or more floors in a building intended to be used as a residence. In an ownership flat, the title of the building and the land is held permanently with the cooperative society or a limited company. And the owner of the flat is not the real owner of the flat in real sense, but has the right to occupy flat. The property, that is the flat, is heritable and transferable. Here, it should be clearly noted that in an ownership flat scheme, when a person or an owner of the flat purchases the flat, he has the right to occupy the flat, but in real sense, he is not the owner of the flat or the land on which the flat scheme is being constructed. Whereas the entire building consisting of the flats and the plot, it belongs to the cooperative society or a limited company. Next is an apartment. The meaning of an apartment is a part of property for any independent use, including one or more rooms on one or more floors in a building intended to be used as a residence. In the apartment, the proportionate share of the common areas of the building and the land on which the building is constructed is held permanently with the owner of the apartment. Here, it should be clearly distinguished in between an ownership flat and an apartment is that the owner of the apartment, he is the owner of the common area. He has his share into the common areas of the building, whereas he has his equal share into the land on which the building it is being constructed. The building, it belongs jointly, but each apartment owner has an independent right to his apartment to the exclusion of the other apartment owners. Here we can see the typical elevation of the ownership flat and an apartment. As discussed earlier, although the elevation stands same, but there is a clear differentiation into the rights of occupancy of the land as well as the area, the common area of the buildings. Thank you. I hope all of you are safe, stay home.